This educational documentary contains content that may require viewer discretion. Welcome to another broadcast of Disturbed Radio. Here we delve into the realm of the unnerving and the unsettling. Join us as we navigate through true crime cases, disturbing tales, and questions that haunt the darkest corners of the human psyche. Hit subscribe and ring the bell to stay updated with our weekly transmissions. You won't want to miss a single episode. Joanna Clunan's life as a mother was marked by her dedication to Aidan's happiness and well-being. He was described as a joyful and loving child with a bright smile that could light up a room. Aidan was known for his kindness and playful spirit, characteristics that endeared him to all who knew him. She was taking Aidan to kindergarten at Calvary Chapel in Yorba Linda on the morning of the incident, a testament to the routine and care she provided for her son. The moments they shared during their daily drives to school were precious, filled with conversations and the simple joy of being together. On May 21, 2021, a fateful morning, on this day, Joanna Clunan was driving her 6-year-old son, Aidan Laos, to kindergarten at Calvary Chapel in Yorba Linda. As they traveled on the 55 freeway in Orange, California, a seemingly mundane act of merging lanes would lead to an irreversible tragedy. Joanna was cut off by a car, which led to a road rage altercation. The driver of the other vehicle, Win Lee, swung over out of the diamond lane to the fast lane, accelerated, and then pulled in front of Clunan's car. Lee made a peace sign to Joanna, and as Joanna later maneuvered to merge toward the eastbound 91 freeway, she passed the defendant's car and flipped them off with the middle finger. In a fit of rage, Marcus Anthony Arise, Win Lee's boyfriend, who was also the passenger in the car, fired a gun at Joanna's vehicle. The bullet struck Aidan, who was sitting in a booster seat in the back. After the gunshot, Joanna Clunan heard a noise that she described as sounding like a big rock hit the car. Moments later, she heard her son, Aidan, who was sitting in a booster seat behind her, say "ow." Turning to look at him, she saw that his head was hanging down. Reacting swiftly, Joanna pulled over to the side of the freeway. She attempted to get Aidan out of his car seat and noticed that he was dying very quickly. In a desperate attempt to save his life, she put her hand on his belly, pulled him close to her body, and called 911. As she waited for help to arrive, Joanna tried to staunch the bleeding. An off-duty police officer stopped to assist, but despite their efforts, Aidan was dying at the scene. Aidan was brought to Children's Hospital Orange County, where medical professionals attempted to save him. Joanna remembered being surrounded by people trying to help, but she couldn't see what was happening with her son. She later looked at the back of her car and saw a hole, which a bystander confirmed appeared to be from a bullet. During her testimony, Joanna Clunan was shown a picture of Aidan and began crying on the stand. The emotional toll of the event was immense, as she had to witness the tragic loss of her son in such a sudden and violent manner. Joanna Clunan's actions in the moments after the shooting were those of a mother doing everything within her power to save her child. Her quick thinking to pull over and call for help, her attempts to stop the bleeding, and her efforts to comfort Aidan in his final moments are a heartbreaking testament to her love and the instinctive drive of a parent to protect their child at all costs. Following the shooting, the California Highway Patrol, CHP, and other law enforcement agencies responded quickly. They secured the scene and began gathering evidence. Joanna Clunan, Aiden's mother, provided a description of the suspect's vehicle, which was crucial in the initial stages of the investigation. Authorities made a public appeal for witnesses and information. The CHP released a description of the suspect's vehicle, a white Volkswagen Golf sport wagon, and asked anyone with information to come forward. The community played a significant role in the search efforts. A reward fund was established to encourage people to provide information leading to the arrest of the suspects. The reward money grew quickly as donations poured in from the public, reflecting the community's desire to see justice served. Law enforcement reviewed surveillance footage from the freeway and surrounding areas. They also received numerous tips from the public, which were followed up by detectives. This information helped to narrow down the search and focus on potential suspects. A manhunt ensued, lasting several days. Eventually, Marcus Anthony Arise and Win Lee were identified as suspects. They were arrested at their Costa Mesa apartment more than 2 weeks after the shooting. The arrest was the result of tireless investigative work, which included following up on leads, conducting surveillance, and analyzing forensic evidence. Forensic evidence played a key role in the investigation. The vehicle believed to be involved in the shooting was found, and a gun, which was later determined to be the murder weapon, was recovered. This evidence was critical in linking the suspects to the crime. The case received significant media attention, which helped keep the search efforts in the public eye. The media coverage also put pressure on the suspects, leading to their eventual surrender and cooperation with the authorities. After the arrests, the suspects were charged, and the legal proceedings began. The evidence collected during the search and investigation formed the basis of the prosecution's case. A little more than 2 weeks after the shooting, Arise and Lee were arrested at their Costa Mesa apartment. In late March 2022, a judge ruled that enough evidence existed to have Arise stand trial on charges of second-degree murder and shooting at an inhabited dwelling or vehicle. Lee was ordered to stand trial on a charge of being an accessory after the fact. In a court appearance, Arise pleaded guilty to related charges. Lee also pleaded guilty to being an accessory and was released on time served due to house arrest credits. On April 2024, Win Lee pled guilty to accessory in Aiden Leos's killing and was sentenced to home confinement. Arise faced a possible maximum sentence of 40 years to life in prison, while Lee faced a possible maximum sentence of 4 years in prison. However, the final sentences reflected the complexities of the legal system and the roles each individual played in the tragic event. The case of Aiden Leos brought the community together in mourning and a call for justice. It served as a stark reminder of the potential for violence that can stem from road rage and the importance of maintaining composure on the road. Aiden's death has left a lasting impact on those who heard his story. His family, while devastated, has worked to ensure that Aiden's memory lives on and that his death serves as a lesson on the consequences of road rage. The early life of the Petit family, as it pertains to the tragic Cheshire home invasion, centers around Dr. William Petit and his family. Dr. Petit, a prominent endocrinologist, lived in Cheshire, Connecticut, with his wife Jennifer Hawk Petit, a nurse, and their 2 daughters, Haley and Michaela. The family was well known and respected in their community for their professional achievements and charitable work. Jennifer Hawk Petit, originally from Pennsylvania, was a pediatric nurse and co-director of the health center at Cheshire Academy, a private boarding school. She met William Petit while they were both working at the Children's Hospital in Pittsburgh. They married and from there started the lives of their children. Haley, their eldest daughter, was an accomplished student and athlete. She was a rising senior at Miss Porter's school, where she was a member of the crew team and had been accepted early decision to Dartmouth College, where she planned to study medicine. Michaela, the younger daughter, was known for her love of cooking and animals. She was an active 11-year-old who enjoyed spending time with her family and was about to enter the 7th grade before the tragedy. The Petit family was deeply rooted in their community, participating in various local events and contributing to charitable causes. This was the story of Cheshire, Connecticut. The Petit family was a symbol of community and kindness. Their home was filled with love, laughter, and the promise of a bright future. The last evening of normalcy on July 22, 2007, Jennifer and her younger daughter, Michaela, spent the evening doing something as routine as grocery shopping. Little did they know, it would be the last time they would enjoy such a simple pleasure. The break of dawn brings darkness as the night gave way to the early hours of July 23. Two men, Stephen Hayes and Joshua Komisarjevsky, lurked in the shadows with a plan to invade the Petit home. What started as an intention to burglarize quickly morphed into a nightmare far beyond a normal theft. The invasion began at 1 a.m. Under the veil of darkness, Komisarjevsky silently entered the Petit residence. The family lay sleeping, unaware of the horror that was about to descend upon them. He quietly surveyed the house, noting the valuables, before signaling to Hayes that the house was ripe for their taking. A turn for the worse by 3 a.m., the duo, driven by greed, made their move. They brutally attacked Dr. Petit with a baseball bat, leaving him bloodied and bound in the basement. The rest of the family was awakened to a living nightmare, taken hostage in their own home. A false sense of hope, as dawn broke, the house that once echoed with joy became a chamber of terror. Jennifer and her daughters were at the mercy of their captors. Hayes, pretending to show a modicum of humanity, escorted Jennifer to the bank to withdraw a large sum of money. The bank employees sensed her distress and alerted the police, but the response came too late. But there were unspeakable acts upon their return. The true extent of the invaders' depravity came to light. Hayes assaulted and strangled Jennifer, while Komisarjevsky committed heinous acts against young Michaela. In a desperate attempt to erase their crimes, they doused the house in gasoline. A desperate escape as the flames began to consume the house. Dr. Petit, despite his severe injuries, managed a miraculous escape to a neighbor's house. He pleaded for help, but the fire was already raging, sealing the tragic fate of his beloved family. By late morning, the police had caught the fleeing criminals. The perpetrators attempted to flee but were swiftly apprehended by the police. The charred remains of the Petit home stood as a grim reminder of the day's events. The community was left reeling, mourning the loss of the Petit family. Justice sought in the days following, Hayes and Komisarjevsky were brought before the court, their bail set astronomically high, reflecting the heinous nature of their crimes. The trials that ensued were emotionally charged, as the state grappled with the gravity of the atrocities committed. July 24, 2007, Hayes and Komisarjevsky faced the consequences of their actions in court. The bail was set high, reflecting the gravity of their crimes. A legacy of change. The Petit family case had a profound impact on Connecticut's legal system, particularly its capital punishment laws. Initially sentenced to death, the perpetrators' fates were altered when the state Supreme Court ruled the death penalty unconstitutional, commuting their sentences to life imprisonment without parole. A community forever changed. The Petit family tragedy remains one of the most heinous crimes in Connecticut's history. It serves as a stark reminder of the fragility of life and the depths of human depravity. The community, though scarred, continues to honor the memory of the Petit family through acts of kindness and the pursuit of justice. Colleen Ritzer was born on May 13, 1989, in Lawrence, Massachusetts. She was a very sweet child of her parents, including other siblings. From a young age, she displays a passion for education, often playing teacher with her siblings. Colleen's enthusiasm for learning continued throughout her life, leading her to pursue a career as a high school math teacher. Colleen attended Assumption College in Worcester, Massachusetts, where she majored in mathematics and minored in education. Her dedication and talent earned her a bachelor's degree in 2011, and she soon began her teaching career at Danvers High School. Danvers High School was a close-knit community where teachers like Colleen Ritzer played a vital role in shaping young minds. Colleen quickly became a beloved figure, known for her enthusiasm, kindness, and dedication to her students. She was a kind person, and especially close to her students. Her classroom was a welcoming place, adorned with colorful decorations and inspirational quotes. Colleen's passion for teaching extended beyond the textbooks. She fostered a sense of belonging and encouraged her students to reach their full potential. She was very caring to her students and took care of them all the time. In the fall of 2013, Danvers High School welcomed a new student, Philip Chisholm. Philip was 14 years old. A quiet and reserved teenager, Chisholm had recently moved to Massachusetts from Tennessee. His transition to a new school and community was challenging, and he struggled to fit in. Colleen Ritzer, with her warm and caring nature, took a special interest in Philip Chisholm. She saw a young man in need of support and went out of her way to help him adjust to his new surroundings. Colleen became a mentor to Chisholm, offering guidance and encouragement. Kid had problems with his personal life, his parents divorced, and he moved in with his mother. Philip was not doing well academically. He was a lonely kid, despite being a strange kid. And Colleen Ritzer, being a kind and helping teacher, raised her hand to the unknown kid, not knowing what was ahead of time. On October 22, 2013, she asked Philip to have a chat with her after class, as she wanted to talk to him about what was going wrong in his life, and why he was so upset about it. On that day, when both Colleen and Philip didn't come home after hours, their families started to get worried and they contacted the police. The investigators started looking for them in the area and outside the area. Police searched, which led to the first clue. The police noticed that her car was still parked in the parking area of the school. This made police wonder if they should check anywhere near the school area for a higher possibility. The second evidence was found when the teacher's handbag was found near the school that seemed like it was robbed and was empty. Police also took the CCTV footage, and here is when the story changed. In the footage of the school's CCTV camera, it was seen that Colleen had exited the classroom and went towards the hallway to go to the bathroom. As she went to the bathroom, Philip came outside of the classroom and looked here and there, as if he was looking for his surroundings. Philip then goes inside the classroom, and it seems like he took something inside of his hoodie and went in the direction where his teacher Colleen had gone. She went towards the washroom, and so did Philip. He can be seen going towards the washroom. He stayed at least 10 minutes, and then he went outside of the school. Then he took a large bin and came inside of the washroom, and then the last time he was seen was going outside with the bin. He also changed his clothes multiple times, and then after that he was not seen, and neither did Colleen. Police rushed towards the washroom, and there they found drops of blood in the girl's washroom. It was not hard to figure that he disposed of her from that bin, and the point made out of that she must be anywhere near the school. After this, a group of investigators stumbled upon a shocking discovery that will haunt them for life. Near the school in the abandoned woods, it was the body of Colleen Ritzer. She was covered in blood, seemed like she had been murdered brutally, and was left bleeding with a number of cuts all over her body. She was naked from her waist. It seemed like her throat was cut open by a sharp knife or an object attacking her randomly in that throat area. Her whole body was covered in stab and cut wounds. And also, by observing her body, it seemed like she was sexually abused. And also there was a note at the side of her body saying, "I hate you all." Autopsy report said that she was stabbed at least 16 times in her chest, neck, and throat. Also, she was alive in all that assault, and she died after she was thrown in the woods. A box cutter was the murder weapon. That bin was found with blood inside. And gloves were found with blood. So, where was Philip Chisholm? On the very next day, someone informed police that he saw someone who was suspicious with no good intentions. So the police came to check and were caught up by the sight of Philip Chisholm. They arrested him and started questioning him. The trial of Philip Chisholm gripped the nation. In the courtroom, the prosecution presented evidence of the heinous crime, including the security footage, DNA evidence, and Chisholm's own confession. Chisholm's defense argued that he suffered from mental illness and should be found not criminally responsible. But that was all made up. After weeks of emotional and harrowing testimony, the jury deliberated and found Philip Chisholm guilty of first-degree murder. He was sentenced to life for 40 years. The verdict brought some closure to Colleen Ritzer's family and the community, but the pain of her loss still lingers. The tragic loss of Colleen Ritzer had a profound impact on the Danvers community. Students, colleagues, and friends mourned the loss of a remarkable teacher and person. The school established a scholarship in her name to honor her memory and continue her legacy of inspiring students to pursue their dreams. Colleen's family founded the Colleen E. Ritzer Memorial Scholarship Foundation, which provides financial support to aspiring educators. The foundation also works to raise awareness about the importance of mental health and the need for early intervention and support. The case of Colleen Ritzer is a heartbreaking example of a life cut short by senseless violence. Her dedication to education, her kindness to her students, and her commitment to making the world a better place serve as a lasting legacy. The tragedy of her death also underscores the importance of mental health awareness and the need for a supportive community to help those who are struggling. In the aftermath of this tragedy, the Danvers community has come together to remember and honor Colleen Ritzer. Her memory lives on in the hearts of those who knew her, and her story serves as a reminder of the profound impact that educators can have on their students' lives. Minimum he can get out is 2055. Tanya Nicole Catch was born on October 14, 1981. Her early years were overshadowed by her parents' divorce, a tumultuous event that significantly impacted her formative years. As she entered adolescence, Tanya faced the typical challenges of teenage life, compounded by bullying at Cornell Middle School in McKeesport, Pennsylvania. The bullying she experienced contributed to her feeling of isolation and her search for acceptance and friendship. After her parents' separation, Tanya moved in with her father, Jerry Catch, and his then-fiancée, Joanne Catch. The relationship with her stepmother was strained, and Tanya often felt unloved and neglected. Her mother, described as violent and abusive, was seldom in touch, which only deepened Tanya's sense of isolation. In an attempt to cope with her emotional turmoil, Tanya began drinking and smoking cigarettes and marijuana. These activities were a means for her to escape the difficulties of her home and school life. It was during this vulnerable period that Tanya forged a friendship with Thomas Hose, a 38-year-old security guard at her middle school. Hose bought her cigarettes and candy, listened to her problems, and made her laugh. This friendship would soon take a dark turn as Hose began to groom Tanya, leading to the tragic events that followed. On February 10, 1996. On this winter day, Tanya Nicole Catch, a 14-year-old girl from McKeesport, Pennsylvania, vanished without a trace. She was reported missing, and an exhaustive search ensued. Her family and authorities were baffled by her sudden disappearance, as there were no clear indications of what had happened to her. It was strange as there were 2 more girls found dead who belonged to that school. And being these missing and murdered girls, Tanya also disappeared. Hose had established a relationship with Tanya, often taking her out of classes to talk. Their relationship had crossed boundaries, with Hose even kissing her after catching her skipping class. Over time, Hose manipulated Tanya into believing that running away and living with him was her best option. In February 1996, Tanya, influenced by Hose's grooming, made the fateful decision to leave her family and move in with him. For the first 4 years after her disappearance, Tanya was not allowed out of Hose's house. She was confined to his second-story bedroom, hidden from his parents and son, living in conditions that no person should ever have to endure. She was forced to use a bucket as a toilet and had no contact with the outside world. In the year 2000, Hose created a new identity for Tanya, calling her Nikki Allen. He introduced her to his parents as his girlfriend, and she was allowed to move in with them. This marked a slight change in her captivity, as she was occasionally allowed to leave the house but was under a strict curfew. This room became her prison, where she was not allowed to leave and had to endure living in deplorable conditions. She was forced to use a bucket as a toilet and had no access to the outside world. During her captivity, he inflicted sexual abuse on her, convincing her that their relationship was genuine. He took advantage of her, knowing that the little girl can be manipulated by him. Knowing her traumatic household experience and her problems, he took advantage of Tanya. Throughout her captivity, Hose maintained a psychological hold over Tanya, manipulating her into believing that their relationship was normal. He threatened to kill her and her family if she resisted or attempted to flee. This control was so pervasive that it took years for Tanya to recognize the abnormality of her situation. As Tanya was allowed some time outside of the house, she began to realize that her relationship with Hose was not normal. She started to plan her escape, looking for opportunities to break free from the chains of her captivity. Finally, on March 21, 2006, with the help of Joe Sparico, a grocery store owner she had befriended, Tanya revealed her true identity and asked him to contact the police, which led to her escape after captivity of 10 years. Following her escape, Tanya faced the challenge of reintegrating into society and reconnecting with her family. Her relationship with her father and stepmother became strained, as they partly blamed her for the ordeal. Despite these difficulties, Tanya has worked towards healing and has shared her story to help others understand the complexities of kidnapping and long-term captivity. Tanya Nicole Catch has since attempted to sue various government organizations for failing to protect her, but these attempts were dismissed. She has written a book titled Memoir of a Milk Carton Kid, The Tanya Nicole Catch Story, sharing her experiences and journey to recovery. After escaping a decade of captivity, Tanya faced the immense challenge of reclaiming her identity and piecing her life back together. She had to adjust to a world that had changed significantly since she was last a free individual. Tanya's relationship with her father and stepmother became strained following her return. They partly blamed her for the ordeal, which led to further emotional turmoil for Tanya. Thomas Hose, the man who held Tanya captive, was arrested and charged with multiple offenses. He eventually pleaded guilty to involuntary deviant sexual intercourse, among other charges, and was sentenced to 5 to 15 years in prison. In a twist, Tanya's father and stepmother sued her in June 2012, claiming that they had been defamed by untrue statements made in her book, Memoir of a Milk Carton Kid, The Tanya Nicole Catch Story. They sought vindication through this legal action. Despite the challenges, Tanya has become an advocate for other survivors of kidnapping and abuse. She has shared her story publicly, encouraging others to find hope and strength in the face of severe trauma. Tanya has worked towards healing from her past and has found personal growth through her experiences. She is now married and has expressed that she finally feels free. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Make sure to subscribe to channel. Until next time.